Up we go into the wild blue yonder. Hey, it's you! Come on in. We got a fun episode today.
Our soap today is from Noble Otter.
It's a beautiful morning with the Barbershop Duet.
Hi, I'm Marcus Klinger with Klinger Vocal Studio.
And I'm Sarah Vincent with Sarah Vincent Virtual Pilates.
But on Wednesdays and Saturdays,
we are the Barbershop Duet.
Hey, it's good to see you.
Yay,
Come on
for
in.
coming.
So for our mention today, we wanted to mention exclusives. Because every once in a while, we'll run across a fragrance. Like there was one from Gentleman's Nod that we told you there was an EDP, but not a shave soap. Well, there is, because it was an exclusive with a distributor. So we have learned that just because a soap that you see is not on the distributor site doesn't mean it doesn't exist. It might be an exclusive with somebody else. For example, Noble Otter, we had no idea, partners with imaginary authors
And
does their shaving soap. Y'all, so constant viewers might have just seen the Telegram episode. Amazing scents that are based on fictional works of fiction. You should read the sales page,
So
y'all.
fun, yeah.
And at the very bottom, we saw it said, our shaving soaps are created by Noble Otter.
Otter.
So I think Noble Otter does the base and they do the scents.
How
So
fun.
y'all take a look at the Razor Company, take a look at the Wet Shaving Store, take a look at Pasture Pharmacy. They do exclusives with these soap makers. So sometimes they will have scents that only they have. And some of them are amazing. So there you go. Look around. Get to know some of your distributors.
And then for our soap today, we were really trying to dig in and find another one from Noble Otter because it was time to sneak it on the schedule. And Marcus dug hard to find this one.
Oh, we loved Tis the Season and we loved Northern Elixir. Y'all, what a beautiful menthol soap that is with so much going on underneath it. So I went onto the site and I picked out a book by its cover. And not just the cover. I know I read a little bit of the descriptions and the scent notes and things, but y'all,
labels,
from
my
an era just before AI came along, these labels are the most beautiful we've ever
So
seen.
much detail, all the little things.
So excited. So part of it was just I wanted to have this label in my collection because it's so beautiful. But flying to me is always such a fun adventure, and this might bring a few worlds together. So y'all, let's meet. So. All right, so Sarah has a particular connection to this scent because her grandfather, for a living, used to make rubber chickens. No, what did he do?
He was a pilot. That's actually how he met my grandma. She saw him and said, I'm going to marry that man. And she did.
Right.
So
Love it.
I
Love it.
didn't actually...
And he flew in the war, right?
And I was never on a plane with him. He'd already retired by then. But I could see, on his dresser, he had his hat. He had his little aviation thing. So it was just like, wow, he really was a pilot, you know?
Wow, and it's such a part of the identity because it's not just your job, it's what you do. You're an airline pilot.
Right.
You're taking hundreds of people at a time and throwing them into the air in defiance of God's laws just to get them to San Francisco. I mean, it's amazing.
Right, and my
these guys
grandma,
do.
they had 5 kids, and she would raise them while he was out because those shifts are long, you know? It's not, you fly for 13 hours sometimes. So it was a very different thing, realizing, like, as an adult looking back, like, wow, my grandpa was probably gone for good chunks for international flights and
Very cool.
crazy
I remember the first time I was on a plane, we went to Hawaii on a funeral directors convention when I was
goody.
10. Yeah, you stood up a lot and you wore comfortable clothes. Anyway, here we go. So this is from the sales page at Noble Otter. Go ahead.
Anyone who knows me knows how much I love aviation. Logbook is a release that I have wanted to do for a very long time.
I remember the exact shaving soap and splash I used the day I soloed the first time. I remember because it gave me some confidence, just being all together and smelling fantastic. I finished the flight and doing 3 touch and goes with a smile ear to ear.
Wow, that's brave. I wanted to make Logbook for everyone to give them this subtle confidence. It's a woody fougere that is an easy fragrance to wear, and I think will be loved by the vast majority of people. Okay.
Oh, do you remember the
sold
first time
us.
you ever flew? Do you remember?
Ooh, I was definitely younger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was very little, and I remember my feet did not touch the floor.
Oh.
And my sister and I probably could sit on the same seat together. So we must have been pretty
Wow,
little.
that's pretty small. Your feet still barely touch
Yeah,
the
they
floor.
barely don't.
Oh, wow, I'm so excited. All right, folks, let's have an unboxing. We got this from Maggots. We love Maggots, y'all.
Okay, let's see.
There it is. Don't look at Shannon Soap's Barbershop. You didn't see that.
Nope, it's
for
coming
an
back
upcoming
later.
episode.
But look, it's
There it is. Look at the blue and the magenta.
And even
Look at the blue and the magenta. Y'all look at it.
Wow.
They can't see it.
And the reflection, and even like the little caution, the eagle.
Look at the city behind him. Okay, hold on.
There's aviators, like glasses at the bottom, and a compass going on.
Yo.
Like, so much detail.
Wow. Well, you smell better just watching this. I think we're done. All right. Thank you, Noble Otters. Fantastic.
That's clearly the presentation alone.
Wow. Almost worth the price of admission just to have this little movie poster in our shave den. All right. I think it is your turn for this first impression. Yes, you have aviation in the blood. You do that first. All right. Hold
I
on.
would not trust me in a cockpit. This would not.
I would. I'd let her fly me.
Although you do like watching the movie Airplane all the time.
I do.
So.
I like Airplane. Airplane's funny. Did you know that it's a parody of an earlier movie that was taking itself very seriously? And rather than like legally try to not say too much to get in trouble with parodying the original movie, they just bought the original movie. So they were able to do scenes like A, B, and just directly nail it to the wall, right? So
that's
anyway,
even funnier. Okay.
All right. Now, I know these Noble Otter pores are beautifully smooth.
Right, they are.
And there's an intensity on these that's usually beautifully right in the middle, maybe a little stronger
I know,
than average.
it's been a while since we've gotten to bust one of these open, so I'm excited. So here are those who like to see the pole.
There it is.
Right.
There it is. Looks like 'tis the season. All right, you ready?
I don't know. We're going to find out.
Take it in, and I shall ask you some questions. Here we go.
Oh, wow.
Oh.
Okay, I have to remember that the last one we've done was more seasonal.
Yes.
So this is oddly not a season
No.
at all.
Okay. What do you get?
And okay, I do get it's a blue image in my mind.
Oh.
I know that's not, it's on the label, but my mind is really seeing like blue skies or something.
Oh.
But scent-wise, it's a little more aquatic-y, fresh.
Yes.
Like if you were in fresh air because of the plane vibes,
Right.
or if you're out on the tarmac, like there's something about that. But it's really pretty. It has a fun woodsy hit too that kicks in there. Like I do feel like if I was a pilot and I had to get all tied up in all my things, like this is something you'd want to wear.
Ooh, now is it a morning smell? Because usually when I fly, I leave the house before it.
Actually,
sun
I
comes up,
pictured
you know
that
what I
time
mean?
of day, like before
Pre-dawn,
dusk,
right? Waiting for your cab out front,
And I know that, his intention was to have like that confidence.
Right.
And I do feel like this gives it to you.
Oh.
I mean, that's what he wanted and I'm getting it.
Right now, any scent notes that you can pick out? She's good, folks.
Well, I'm trying because it's very well blended. I know there's probably a lot in here making this smell so lovely and connected.
Right.
I do get something more dry woodsy at the end. At the beginning, it's more of a blue, maybe bergamotti, something in the sweeter but not too sweet.
Blue bergamotti.
And it's that's a thing. But I don't get gourmandy from this at all. I get more like dapper, clean cologne vibes.
Gotcha. All right, here we go, folks. Up I go
sounds
into
really
the
good.
wild blue yonder. I'm excited for this.
I'm curious what you're going to think. I don't think we have much in our den yet that is close to this. It's
Oh.
like its own version of something.
Nice.
Like we needed it, clearly. You
Okay,
picked
here we
well.
go. You ready? It's so funny. My brain sometimes goes on meltdown because where
oh no, what
I
if it's
think
too good?
I was going to put it, it doesn't fit. But my brain can't instantly shift it over to what it is.
Right.
So sometimes that look in my eyes of just utter bamboozlement is pretty real.
Yeah.
So here we go. Oh.
Does what I said make sense now?
Wow. Wow. Oh. Okay, y'all. So let's have a great conversation. Here's what I like. We just did Barbershop Month, and we discovered there are a couple of different kinds of barbershops, and I think this was a secret code she was trying to tell me a couple minutes ago. Some of the barbershops are beautiful powder, traditional, vintage barbershops, but kind of what we discovered as the modern barbershop is a little bit more of a blue, basil, white patchouli kind of a smell.
Zone. Mm-hmm.
And for me, this isn't that, but this starts there.
I can see where you're going with that.
And then it leaves the barbershop, and then you start getting the cab ride to the airport. You get the beautiful hotel lobby. You start, this is the whole
cleaning up.
first day of travel, y'all. So I get that this would start a little bit more in that beautiful blue, cleany barbershop, sort of slightly aquatic kind of clean place. Whoa, and then something slightly citrusy and dapper cleans this up even more.
Do you get a color? Like, because I was getting blue.
I get
Dusky.
blues and golds.
Yeah.
Blues and golds. And I think those are the two sides coming together.
Even on my grandpa's hat, there is a gold cord that goes all the way around.
Okay, so sometimes, y'all, especially in the soaps, because there is no technical dry down, you get one color and it presents itself to you all at once, right? And it's lovely. But sometimes these are so beautifully crafted and balanced that you still get a 3-act play. You still get top notes, middle notes, and a little bit later, bass notes. This does that. So what I love that this starts me somewhere familiar, and those barbershops we're going to get to know. And one of the set notes on those barbershops, we kind of agreed secretly, was like a fresh laundry smell.
Clean.
So this starts me at the point of departure. Clean laundry, barbershop, I'm all ready to go to get on the plane. And then it takes me all the way to the end of the journey of getting off the plane into a beautiful hotel lobby, into somewhere with beautiful new exotic flowers and little bits of wood that you can smell.
Do you get the woodsy off the end of this?
Yes, that's what I get at the end. And just, I don't want to say this because I don't want people to think it's too sweet, but because it's not. The sweetness intensity is turned down, but it is the charming type of sweetness that's in a mandarin orange.
Yeah, I can get that for sure.
And it's turned a bit down.
It's a
so
mellow.
It doesn't hit you like candy, but it has like what my mom used to call nature's candy smell, a mandarin orange smell that is so delightful and charming and sweet that it almost reads like candy, but it's not. And then maybe a tiny bit of like even a grapefruit to keep the citrus a little savory and dapper.
Yeah, it's clean, but it's not clean with a soapy clean.
No,
it
get that out of your
has something in.
Right.
I don't know if there's a floral. I don't know if it's that citrus thing you're getting, but there's something in there that is a brisk, clean air, and you are ready to tackle your day. That totally comes across.
Yeah. And then what's the destination you get? Because do you smell the little bit of the blue barbershop and the clean laundry of leaving for the airport?
I can see where you get,
And then at the end, what do you get where you land? What are you sensing?
It's funny because I get like when you do land somewhere, you know, the image on the postcard, like where you've been waiting to get to, and then you step off the plane, you see whatever, if it's the hotel, if it's the beach, wherever that landscape is of like, I've made it.
Right. Those postcards that say like Havana, and each letter has like a picture inside of something
like
from Havana,
you are
right?
there. You finally, it's real. It's in front of you. It's not just what you've been looking at and wanting to get to. It's there.
Right. And usually when I fly somewhere too, what gets my nose is that I'm so used to our San Francisco Bay Area humidity that when I get somewhere else, it's usually way less humid or way more humid. And that's also the first thing I take in is like this. Because usually it's more humid because you're going somewhere more tropical for vacation or something, right? But when you get to Hawaii, if you know, you know. I mean, I was 10 years old when this happened, but when I got off the plane, this like wall of like humidity hit me. And I could see where some people that'd be a little annoying. But for me, it was like, whoa, this is the coolest feeling. It's almost like being in a pool, but outside.
Yeah,
like,
it's a weird feeling.
So I get sort of that sensation too. Somehow the warmth of the humidity is in the end of this for me, and I'm not sure how.
So should we lather and see if that helps us find
you know what?
extra part?
Let's do a couple of things at once. Let's lather and let's go on a trip to see these scent notes. And this is our Razor Company 3D printed lather bowl. This was a gift from Jason and Crystal. Thank you, guys. Gonna push this into the side here.
Press it in. Was it a softer soap to begin?
Yes, but just enough of a bite back to your stick that you know business is being done.
Scoop. All right.
And I was texting Angelo this morning. I do happen to know that this soap is a favorite at their house.
Oh, I see.
Let's bougie this up a little bit.
It is a very, I'm trying to think, there's not a time of day I wouldn't bust this out, I feel like.
Ooh, right.
I know the image we're getting, but I feel like I would use this. It could be a morning, get ready for the day, if I needed to pick me up at night.
Right.
Like there is just something nice and comforting
yeah, for me,
about it.
This is a morning trip to the airport. I mean, I've taken a few flights usually from Los Angeles home at night because you got stuff going on during the day and you don't want to lose a day. And it's only a half hour, 45-minute flight, right? But no, this is more remnants for me of those flights where I would get up ready for a long vacation. Okay. And the first part is that fun trip to the airport where you get to talk to a cab driver and you get to go through the...
things happening.
Y'all.
I thought so.
Whoa.
I just wanted a whiff before we looked at the scent notes because I wanted to know if there was something else we were missing.
I'm with you because following on with our tradition of Noble Otter, it's beautiful off the puck. But y'all... This thing comes alive when you add some water and friction and suds. This is what it's meant to smell like. Okay, so you ready? So think a little fresh laundry. You just packed your suitcase. Your cat's outside. He's honking the horn. You're going to go somewhere you've always wanted to go. Smell that.
Yeah, I don't know how, but it got prettier.
It did.
Like instead of it being here, it just like exploded into a much
bit
fuller,
more floral, a tiny bit more sandy and dry somehow.
And it has a good intensity.
Oh, yes. Lovely.
I forgot to mention, but the intensity is actually...
Right, yes. Because I used to teach choir, and sometimes there's some voices that you want to be a little bit louder. You're like, I can't exactly hear you. Sometimes that happens with set notes. Nope, that's how you know you got a beautiful balance going on, folks, is you can kind of sense all of them. You may not know exactly what they are, but you can sense that they're here, and you can sense that sophistication in the balance.
Okay, so do a little comparative whiff action, because I'm curious...
This is the comparative whiff, y'all. Okay, you do that one.
This one has a little bit sweeter, like it hasn't opened up yet. This
is Davina. This has
a little
all
less
of it.
Sweet and more of that in-between layer opened up.
This really could be a lovely cologne. Are you sensing that?
I know. I really might want the splash action.
Or even perfume. Half of what Tom Ford does and all the amazing stuff is unisex nowadays, folks. Where does this land for you?
Oh, for sure. That's what I land. I did say cologne at the beginning.
You did.
And that must have been what I was kind of getting. Like it has a little bit of that going on.
My brain just showed me like cologne, but then it went... It's cologne, but it's got so much stuff orbiting around it that like you kind of have to smell for the cologne. And then what's that stuff orbiting around it? And you know what? Thankfully, here
must be tons.
Okay, so here we go. Let's start at the top. So we've got, and you mentioned
I was
bergamot. There it is.
And here's what you said.
Orange.
Look at us.
There
Go team.
Go. Now moving right along.
Interesting.
Black pepper. Just to give it a little spice, just to give it a little grounding. Like you all have a salt and pepper shaker. What's it taste like? Not sure. Still not sure, but I do know what it smells like. In fact, sometimes when I cook, I'll put some black pepper I'll crack it into the pan, into a warm pan, because the aromatics of that pepper just come out beautifully. That I get, and it's gorgeous.
I was not expecting this next one. Nutmeg.
Y'all.
But it makes sense. It's that simple, clean, almost woodsy, but not kind of vibe.
This is how I know it's Noble Otter, because it's stuff that you're not expecting brought in, and when it does join the rest of these, it does stuff that's just beautiful and clever, and you should have seen coming from the first place.
Okay, I did kind of think it might have been this type of wood, but I did not have this exact one. Cedar wood.
Love it.
Definitely a lighter one, potent smell, and patchouli.
Yep, and it's only half of it. It's the first half.
It's
not the second half, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's there. It's there to bind it, bring it all together, keep it a little earthy, a little bit foreign landish. You know what I mean? And then amber.
I got that. Now that I'm smelling for it, I totally.
That's part of the brighter parts of it. And then
see, this is more where I went to a little more masculine. Leather.
Because your suitcase, your briefcase, right?
Or a leather jacket like the aviation days, like that's what you throw on.
Right, the leather jacket, the bomber jacket,
right?
Right. Of course. Yeah, I love it. And then the last one.
No, elemi.
Finally.
Moss. But it's a refreshing moss.
Oh, sense that? That's the green. But in moss, it keeps it dry and beautiful.
Yes.
Because leaves, green leaves kind of things can get a little bit grassy and bracing, but that's brilliant.
Not this.
A little bit of moss in there underneath it all.
Wow. And we have not had nutmeg in a long time.
No.
That's a different spice than going with more the typical kind of ones. I kind of like what it does.
I love it. Because I do find you need something that has a little bit of weight, a little bit of girth in that scent to be in the middle. I know the bass notes are always doing that job, but there's something delightful about some lower frequencies in the middle part of the symphony. You know what I mean? And that's what this does.
And now that you're smelling this, we don't have something exactly like this in our den.
No.
It usually goes more aquatic, or it usually goes more cologne-y. I feel like this is its own kind of version of that.
And I could see how this is dancing on a razor's edge, where if it fell this way, it would be aquatic. And if it fell that way, it would be cologne. But somehow this is walking that line in the middle.
Yeah.
Well, I guess a transatlantic flight is over the ocean, but you wouldn't consider it aquatic unless something goes dreadfully wrong.
Let's hope not.
There you go. So this just stays airborne above
the
water.
It really kind of does. And I do get that subtle confidence. Like it's that calm and collected vibe.
They mentioned that, right.
They do. And I really do get that out of this scent.
Whoa. Okay, hold on. Think confidence and then sense for those darker spices in this.
Yeah, you know what? It almost gives you like another backbone. Like you're, ready.
Yeah, and it does it without being too leathery. It does it without being tobacco-y. It does it without being too of those dirtier smells, right? It does it with a cleanness.
As a passenger on a plane, you put a lot of faith into your
really
pilot.
do. Yeah.
And they do have to have that confidence that you can trust. Like they just have to carry that about them,
right. Yeah, usually when I pass either a pilot or a doctor that's about to operate on me, I'll look at them and go, "You haven't done this before?" And they go, "Yeah." And I go, "Okay."
Just making sure, because we don't want to find out the hard way.
Right.
Okay, so I don't really want to take this deeper. I feel like we need to take this a little higher.
Oh, see, that's why she's with me, folks. Here, let's go for a ride. If you ever want a fun deep dive on YouTube and you want to just throw a half an hour completely down the toilet and have a great time doing it, there is the great story called The Plane That Landed Itself.
What?
And I won't go into it too much because it's a rather simple story once you know the title. But suffice it to say, y'all, it's a story of an airfield where they were watching this unannounced, very large airplane come in for a landing, which it did. Accidentally, because it had nobody on it.
Where did it go? What?
Talk about an aviation miracle.
Yay.
So anyway, yeah. Did your grandfather have any stories about flying a plane? Did he ever have anything crazy happen that he told you about?
I don't think I really realized enough that I should have asked.
Right. I bet he had some adventures.
I'm sure he did. I'll have to ask my dad.
Engines cutting out.
There's got to be something.
Things like that. Right?
Well, and even when the war, I mean, I'm sure there was stuff he didn't really want to talk about, but he saw all the things. But my friend Kendra did work at the Aviation Museum in Southern California.
Right.
So I should ask her, because where she'd send her a sample and be like, hey, does this remind you of back when you worked there?
Yeah. And y'all, if you live in the United States in the Southwest, you might head over to the Reagan Library because they have Air Force One, and you can actually go through it. It's very cool.
How
a bunch
cool.
of presidents used it, and you can get a little sweatshirt that says Air Force One. You can feel all official and important.
Right? This is where I've been. Not many people.
I know, yeah, and it was very cool because the first thing you pass is like where they handle all the nuclear stuff on the airline, and you're like,
Oh, that's different.
okay, right? Because the first thing the president does, he hands off the nuclear codes to the person on the airplane. So like, well, that's where that happened. Okay, right.
I think you don't think about on
Just
a normal airplane.
A little
There you
too
go.
Dr. Strange love for me, but there you go. You know, I love how deep this doesn't get because it's an homage to an airplane. I love that, even though there are some darker set notes listed here. They're not in here the way they are in other soaps.
No, and it's just at the bottom enough to almost let you
Right.
understand the depth.
It's just enough to let you see the ground. Is that a way to say it, folks?
Yeah.
So this keeps you airborne. This gives you all that confidence, but it doesn't keep you light and
Or weigh you
fun
down.
and-
There's nothing
right.
weighted to it, if that makes sense.
Energy. You're not having to overcome gravity. It's doing that for you. You know what I
It
mean?
really is. And I don't know. I mean, if I didn't even know that this is an aviation thing, I'm curious if that's what I would get, because it's kind of obvious once you know.
Right. And I love that this doesn't just smell like sky. I love that this smells like leaving for the airport. I love this smells like landing at some beautiful, fun destination.
It does have that excitement to it, you know, like the thrill of being in an airplane. Like you forget, I'm in an airplane right now, flying way too fast. I don't want to know.
The light spiciness in this, I love. I guess something in the nutmeg, something in the cedarwood, something in the pepper, but it's just beautiful.
They balance wonderfully with the bergamot orange vibes.
Right.
Like honestly, everything that's in this bounces off of each other. And the leather is just enough to add that confidence and masculine hit.
Right.
You know, the elemi moss at the end is a nice finish.
Right. So it's pretty easy. All you have to do is have raised a family, Wally and the beaver, and then you're going to go on a little trip somewhere far away on an airplane for the first time. Well, there's a couple of guys in the seats in front of you who are desperately trying to order dinner, but the stewardess just doesn't understand them. Well, luckily, you speak their language and you just got your own!
So head over to nobleotter.com where you'll find this and a bunch of other cool stuff.
Well, I've had my shave with Logbook. And y'all, there's a beautiful cologne in here that a pilot like Sarah's grandfather could have definitely worn. But the other quality, and the one that I love, is that there is just this certain dignified, luxurious quality to certain places where I've traveled. Hotel lobbies, lounges, really nice parts of the airport, where there's just this beautiful sense of travel. And I don't know how to better describe that, but it somehow is woven into the fabric of this soap that you are going somewhere that's going to be hospitable to those who are traveling the globe. And the lather, y'all, the more time you spend with it, the more love it'll give you, and the more aromatherapy is there for the taking. I love this lather because it goes on so thick and sticky, and my razor is just fearless, like ice skating with it. Noble Otter, thank you for this. Welcome to Messages.
So we have a soap from Sterling. Rod and Mandy made friends till the end, and it's for their pets.
Yes, it's to honor their four-legged friends, so we thought we should honor all of ours. Would you send a picture of you with your pet? Pet birds, pet snakes, pet rocks, anything you got to. We set you at thebarbershopduet.com. Include your name and theirs, and we're going to put it together at the end of the episode in a special little montage.
Can't wait to meet them all. I'm really glad that this was the one that you found us for our third one to have in the den here, because
I just asked Sarah if this smelled like this one cologne that we know a little bit. She said, well, it smells like that's trying to be.
This one's definitely better.
Oh, I get it. I totally get it. Yes, this has a sophistication. This has a sense of whoever created this nailed it. Like when you hear We Will Rock You, when you hear We Are the Champions, they nailed it. They nailed that song, right? When you smell this balance, you get like, oh, I've heard these notes in different places. But this nailed it.
Yeah,
This
I think
is
my
it.
dad would actually really like it. We're going to have to ask him about some of my grandpa's stories, but I think he'd really enjoy this type of scent.
Yeah, and I think the next time we travel, we might have to invest in the aftershave because I think it might be a prerequisite.
Yeah, I think I'm done with that plan. We'll have to go check that out. Don't forget, you're next to phone with the Barbershop Duet.
You'll smell better just watching this.